Hi and welcome to today's vlog. Today we are visiting the Thackray Museum of Medicine in Leeds.
She likes oversharing with outfits and swearing, admiring her tats while she plays with all her cats. Her disability gives her superpower, agility to holiday and live the right way. A Stegosaurus.
Got to spin for ages, doesn't it? Thackray is open daily from 10 AM till 5 PM with the last admission at 4:15, and they advise. Oh no. Oh. Here we go. Oh. The general admission price is £11.95 for an adult and £8.95 for a child, and your entry will get you entry for the entire year. They have lots of concessions available, so make sure you ask. So the first part of the museum is this tour through a Victorian street. The idea is you spin that wheel, which I showed you right at the start, which spins for an incredibly long time, and then you pick a character to follow their journey through the museum. This part is a lot of fun. It's very interactive. You can see lots going on here, and they've kitted it out really well. It does look really good. It looks really effective. It is a lot of fun, and as you travel through, you can see where the disease comes from and how people are going to meet their grimy ends in this Victorian street. It's a lot of fun. It was also really easy to get the wheelchair around, which was a bit of a bonus, and I could see into all the displays from the wheelchair as well. Once you have walked through the grimy streets, you can head into this operating theatre which has been set up to watch a real-life amputation.
I should begin by cutting the skin and flesh away from the bone above the knee. For that purpose, a sharp knife...
Obviously, you don't get to watch a real-life amputation, but there is this very cool video on the wall where you can watch an actual amputation from the 1800s, which I was absolutely fascinated by. Now obviously this might be a little bit scary for some of those with a nervous disposition or children, and you can avoid this part of the museum completely should you so wish. You don't have to go in here, and there are lots of warnings about it. An interactive exhibition that features a quiz you can take part in all about germs and how germs are spread. It's really interesting, and obviously I got all the answers right, but this is like a fun little interactive learning space, and it teaches you so much about germs and how germs are spread, so that bit was really good too. That's why you shouldn't wax your nose hairs. Yay! There's another interesting bit downstairs which tells you some of the history of the museum, which opened in 1997 in the former Leeds Union Workhouse building next to St James's Hospital. We then headed upstairs in the lift, and it did get a little bit tricky to film sort of the upstairs part of the museum, as there was a really big school group in here, and obviously I don't want to film other people's kids, so sort of the footage here is a little bit patchy where I had to try and avoid children. But the upstairs of the museum is fascinating. It is full of old medical equipment, and you can see sort of the transition from the original equipment to how it has changed and evolved into what we use today. I loved seeing the iron lung. I thought that was a fascinating piece of kit, and there were just some really interesting exhibits up here. It is just fascinating, and if you're into history and if you're into medicine, if you're into science, this museum is it's outstanding. It is great, really interesting. And also a huge shout out to the staff, as the school children that were wandering around were not very well behaved, and one staff member in particular did a great job of wrangling these children when no teachers seemed to be able to do that. The fact that this building used to be sort of workhouse hospital as well is really interesting, because you can see a lot of the original features, you can see the layout, and I think that just really adds to the whole experience. It honestly is such an interesting place to visit. They had this really cool Pride exhibit as well, which featured a lot of people's stories, and it was just quite sombering to read some of these stories, and this mural was amazing. I loved this mural so much. It was such a good idea. It is stunning. This part of the museum is really nice, and it was actually really nice to see the school kids sort of stopping and really paying attention here as well. Just a great exhibit. We We then headed into the little cafe which is attached to the museum. There's also a soft play area down here as well. It's a cute little cafe. They had limited gluten-free options, but plenty of sandwiches, cakes, teas, coffee, that kind of thing. We finished up with an obligatory look around the gift shop, which is just inside the entrance, and it had your typical gift shop stuff. It had like a lot of medically themed gifts, so there were kids' toys, there were lots of books, they had some prints and postcards. It was a cute little gift shop. When you visit, please take a moment just to admire the entrance hallway. The details here are stunning. There's a lot of original features. These tiles are beautiful, and they had this amazing light installation. Just, it's worth a second to stop and look. We have just come out of the Thackray Medical Museum, or Thackray Museum of Medicine. It was really interesting. I love stuff like this, so I found it fascinating. And because I read so much about this, it was really interesting seeing it sort of in practice. It was cool. I think we spent about 2 hours, 2.5 hours maybe. About 2 hours in there. I recommend on the website that you spend about 2 hours in there. It is fully wheelchair accessible. They've got a changing places toilet and an accessible disabled toilet, actually, which was one of the nicest disabled toilets I've ever been in, and it smelled really nice. What are the regular toilets like? Regular toilet's nice too. It's also got a little cafe which we went in and had gluten-free options, pretty limited as they generally are, but we both had a little bit of cake and a coffee and a cup of tea, and that was fine. It was nice. But the whole museum generally great. I didn't get to film as much as I wanted to because there was a bunch of school kids in there, and obviously I don't want to film school kids, but yeah, I had a really good time at the Thackray Medical Museum in Leeds. I definitely recommend you come here if you like history, if you're interested in medicine and science. It's just fascinating. And then we went in the gift shop and bought a couple of books as well, so I can continue my medical education and then perform an amputation successfully on Neil when he's asleep. So thank you to Neil for bringing me and for pushing me around. But yeah, had a really great time.